What truly sets great leaders apart isn't just strategy or skill, it's emotional intelligence. In today's video, we're unlocking how mastering EQ can transform your leadership and fuel lasting success. If you're ready to lead with heart and impact, hit that like button and subscribe. This one's a game changer. Leadership has always been about more than just strategy, vision, or performance metrics. In a world where markets shift overnight and teams span continents, successful leadership requires something deeper, something more human. That something is emotional intelligence, EQ. Emotional intelligence isn't about being soft. It's about being aware, strategic, and compassionate in ways that drive results and cultivate loyalty. In times of crisis, growth, and transformation, emotionally intelligent leaders are the ones who keep their people aligned, engaged, and inspired. This is the story of how emotional intelligence has become the hidden engine behind long-term leadership success. What is emotional intelligence? Emotional intelligence is the ability to recognize, understand, manage, and influence your own emotions and the emotions of others. It was popularized by psychologist Daniel Goleman, who identified 5 key components: self-awareness, knowing your strengths, weaknesses, triggers, and emotional patterns; self-regulation, controlling impulses, managing stress, and responding rather than reacting; motivation, being driven by internal values rather than external rewards; empathy, understanding the emotions of others and seeing situations from their perspective; social skills, building rapport, resolving conflicts, and communicating clearly and persuasively. For leaders, these aren't just personal assets, they are professional necessities. A leader who lacks emotional intelligence may be competent on paper, but in practice, their inability to connect with people often limits their influence, undermines team performance, and creates toxic work environments. Why EQ matters more than IQ in leadership. While IQ might get someone into a leadership position, it's EQ that determines how well they lead once they're there. High EQ helps leaders navigate the real world of messy emotions, conflicting personalities, and constant change. It enables them to build trust, handle pressure, and guide teams through uncertainty. Leaders with strong emotional intelligence are also better decision makers. They are less clouded by ego or fear and more open to diverse perspectives. When stakes are high and stress is mounting, EQ allows them to stay calm, listen actively, and make thoughtful choices instead of impulsive ones. The role of self-awareness in leadership. Self-awareness is the foundation of emotional intelligence. Leaders who are self-aware know how they come across to others. They understand their emotional patterns, strengths, and blind spots. This prevents them from projecting personal insecurities onto their teams or making ego-driven decisions. For example, a self-aware leader may recognize that they tend to dominate conversations or get defensive when challenged. With that awareness, they can learn to pause, reflect, and respond more constructively. They seek feedback not to affirm their ego, but to improve their impact. Self-aware leaders are confident, but not arrogant, humble, but not timid. Self-regulation, staying grounded under pressure. In today's high-pressure world, leaders must constantly face stress, conflict, and rapid change. Those who lack self-regulation often lash out, shut down, or make rash decisions. Over time, this creates fear-based cultures where creativity and innovation die. Leaders with strong self-regulation, on the other hand, remain steady even in chaos. They don't let temporary emotions dictate long-term consequences. They take a breath before responding. They acknowledge frustration without letting it cloud their thinking. This calm presence creates psychological safety for others, enabling teams to take risks and speak openly. Empathy, the heart of leadership. Of all the emotional intelligence components, empathy is perhaps the most essential for leadership. Empathy allows leaders to connect on a human level. It's the ability to step into someone else's experience, to feel what they feel without judgment or impatience. This kind of emotional attunement boosts morale, reduces turnover, and strengthens team loyalty. In fact, employees are far more likely to stay at companies where they feel their leader genuinely cares. During times of change or crisis, empathy is not just a nice to have, it becomes the glue that holds teams together. Motivation and social skills, driving performance through people. Motivation in emotionally intelligent leaders comes from within. These leaders are purpose-driven. They're passionate not just about results, but about meaning. They bring energy to the table. They inspire others not with fear, but with a sense of shared vision. They also possess strong social skills. They know how to communicate clearly, resolve disagreements diplomatically, and influence without manipulation. Whether they're negotiating with a client, coaching an employee, or speaking to a boardroom, they bring emotional insight into every interaction. Case studies: emotionally intelligent leaders in action. Consider Satya Nadella, CEO of Microsoft. When he took over in 2014, Microsoft was known for its aggressive, competitive culture. Nadella brought a radically different approach, one grounded in empathy, collaboration, and humility. He encouraged leaders to listen, to learn, and to grow. Under his emotionally intelligent leadership, Microsoft not only transformed its culture but also became one of the world's most valuable companies. These leaders prove that emotional intelligence is not a weakness, it's a superpower. Building emotional intelligence as a leader. The good news is that emotional intelligence is not fixed. It can be developed over time through intentional effort. Leaders who want to build their EQ can start with journaling or self-reflection to better understand emotional triggers, feedback from peers and mentors to identify blind spots, mindfulness practices to increase emotional regulation and awareness, empathy-building exercises such as active listening and perspective taking, leadership coaching to reinforce EQ-driven habits in high-stakes environments. Just like technical skills, emotional intelligence requires practice, but the returns are exponential, both personally and professionally. Emotional intelligence isn't a soft skill, it's a power move. If these insights helped shift your perspective on leadership, smash that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more high-impact leadership tools that help you lead with empathy, strength, and purpose.